on the qualifying data now. So if you look on the top right, there should be a little sector data, tire data, all that jazz. Apparently, ARC848 is claiming they do not feel confident in the one stop. It looks like they do not have good data. However, Formula Kyle is saying he does like the one stop. So let's see whose data is proper. There's currently 11 people doing. Seems nothing for an invite. If I can't invite you right now. I have to wait until this dumb session ends. I'll invite you right after. I promise. There you go. Okay, no, I can't. Okay, there you go. Gonna miss the first like 10 tickets of qualifying. I hope you're happy, Sion. I'm joking, you're fine. Now here's the part where I try to figure out if I have you friended or not. Do I have you friended? There's no way I don't have you friended by now. It's crazy. Sorry, trying to figure out technical difficulty with one of the drivers. Can't see their name. Let's put the map on and let's watch some lap data. Okay, so our first car out is going to be Formula Kyle. Formula Kyle, 2311. He's in the Mercedes soft tires. It is currently the beginning of qualifying. Warming the tires up on the back straight. We're going to have the Kick Sauber and the Aston Martin behind him. Let me see now if I can find this guy. Stormables. Wrong person. I'm gonna have to ask Starnick or Arc84 because apparently you are friended with Sion. If you can invite him, please. Thank you so much. I cannot see him in the slightest. Okay, so Formula Cousin come across the line now to finish his lap with a respectable 119.3. Right behind is no one apparently. Wait, let's see if we can get them. Who is this car? There you go. Arc finishes his lap now. Nope, he does not. He goes on his finishes out lap. Maxpert in the Aston Martin is a 118.9. I am sorry, Sion. I literally have no clue why I can't see you. You can try. I'll try again in a couple seconds. You can try to look for your name, but you're not in my list, to my knowledge. Trip Yachts in the Haas sets at P3 for 120.9. I try to look for a car that's actually on a lap. I can't find one. I believe Leah Plays is on her hot lap now. Leah Plays is on her hot lap. She comes across the Parabolica in the Williams. She is the sole Williams in the lobby. Marshaller is not here, to my dismay. For 124. 124.8. 23.8. 4 seconds down on Maxpert. Starnick invited Sion, Danky Starnick, my go-to. We now have 10 drivers in the lobby. Perfect. Next car across the line is going to be Arc. He puts it P3 for 120.1. He is still about a second and a tenth down on P1 Maxpert. However, he is on the second row. Xenophi has joined, so he's going to be able to set a lap. He has 12 minutes, so more than enough time to set maybe a lap or two. Who is this driver in Sector 2? It's Leah, okay. Let's see if we have any laps. Is anyone pushing? Starnick should be pushing. He is pushing. Starnick is currently P9, however, he has no time, so it's not an actual P9. We're going to wait until he comes across the line to see where he is putting it. Starnick is also the sole Alpine. Currently, the only team that has a teammate, or sorry, the only team that has 2 cars in the lobby is the Aston Martins and the V-Carbs. Which is a good advantage. There's no Red Bull, there's no Ferrari, there's no McLaren. TTV puts it P3 with a 119.5. Starnick comes across the line with a 120.3, putting him P5. From P9 to P5, however, Xenophi has finally updated. He now takes the new P10. He's in the pits currently. Jake is entering the pits now in valid lap, so he has not set a time. Brian, the second V-Carb, I believe he has currently won the head-to-head against his teammate at the current moment. I think it is close. I can check the standings. He's currently one of the only consistent teammates here, so he has an actual head-to-head. It is close, though, with the 2 V-Carbs. Positions are usually 1 or 2 away, so it's not like a domination. But I think Brian is up on his teammate, Arc8484. Currently P9, he is pushing. He is a yellow Sector 1, so he is not improved on Maxpert. It's a second and a 3/10 down, and now invalid. Not a good lap by Brian. He has to come into the pits now for a new set of softs. However, there is still enough time to recover. It is not set in stone yet. We have the Kick Sauber destroying the braking markers. Not very sportsmanlike. Apparently, Jake reported airtime, which is actually kind of funny. Similar to the F1 movie. So, Jake, Brian have no times. Both have invalid laps. Xenophi was in the pits. He just got here. He's going to come out now. He's going to be the only car on track very soon. Unless it's Haas. What's Haas doing? The Haas is also exiting. So it's going to be... Nope, he's entering the pits. So, the only car on track for 3 seconds was Xenophi. He's now going to be followed by the Williams of Leah Plays. Currently, Leah Plays is the sole Williams. She usually has a teammate, Marshaller. Leah Plays has 1 podium to Marshaller's 2 from last season. Let's see if she's going to be able to get a second podium, tying her teammate. She is currently last of the drivers with time. However, it is possible to recover. It was only her first lap, so she has the opportunity to go up. Arc and Brian are 1-1 in quali. according to Golden Callum. Thank you for the stat. I do think Brian is up 2-0 in race, but I do think Arc has had multiple front wing changes caused by China, so it might have been an unfair statistic so far. It's only been 2 races, so you can't really judge right now. You have to wait. But Brian is doing a great job. So is Arc. TTV P3. TTV was, I believe, a title contender of last season, or not for the until the very end, but he was in the contention throughout the season. Leah Plays is going to start her lap now behind Xenophi. We'll start Xenophi actually, since he will be the first car. Good corner, just the first corner allows him to keep medium speed. Wonder if Leah Plays got a slipstream off the McLaren. It might have been useful. Purple sector by the McLaren. However, he's still 2 tenths down on Maxpert. I don't know how that works out. Might be an issue on my data. Xenophi is currently setting a very good lap though. It does look fast. However, it does look like he has a lot of drag. I think he's running a higher downforce compared to the Aston Martin. As you can tell, he's already a second down. It is helping him in the corners, though. He does look stable. Or I could be completely BSing myself, and I'm completely wrong. It'd be funny if I am. I don't know. However, it does look right now like a good lap. It should put him at around the top 5 if he completes it. Finishes the lap now, going up to P6. I was off by 1 position. Yes, Jeff, he's in. Thank you for trying. Jake, the second Aston Martin, puts it on pole position. Leah Plays, comes to come across. Sure, it came across, my fault. Leah Plays improves her lap time by 5 tenths to a 123.2. Jake, however, the second Aston Martin driver, puts it on provisional pole by just 1 tenth. Formula Cow's in the wall, he reports. Is this true? He has front wing damage. So he did put it in the wall. He's not out just yet. 6 minutes remaining in the session. Brian is the only car without a time. Is he currently out? He is out. He is pushing, I think. I think he's improving. He's 5 tenths down on Jake's time. But even then, that still puts him in a very respectable P4, P3. Is he going to be able to maintain that gap to the finish line? He's coming across the final corner now to Parabolica. Has he saved enough DRS? Or ERS, sorry. Good cornering across the final corner. He's going to come across the line. It's going to be good. It's enough to take his teammate's position of P5. Arc is still P6. However, it's only by 2 tenths. Arc is only 2 tenths down. He's in the pits right now. He's waiting for the time to go down a little bit longer. So Brian puts a good lap in, goes to P5, but only by 2 tenths. Can Arc improve? Currently, there's no... Oh, wait, there is a driver out. Who's out? Who's out? Who's out? I think that's a Williams or an Alpine. It is an Alpine of Starnick. Starnick is driving. He is improving on his time. 2 green sectors. I have not seen any greens for some reason, but he has them. It looks to be a really good time for Starnick. It might not be pole, but it's enough to go into the pit lane. I wonder what happened, because apparently he was on an absolute flyer of a lap, according to my information. Jake is our new driver to watch. Where's Jake at? I think he's just bugging out, actually. It could be bugging out. Trust Brian. Brian's into the pits. Okay, so everyone's in the pits besides TTV. TTV's coming back out the pits. He's 7 tenths down on the time to beat Jake. He has the special Kick Sauber livery. We have noticed that. Everyone's in the pits besides a couple cars. We have TTV. Xenophi, who put at P5 at one point, it's back down to P8. Following the whole train is then Leah Plays. This would be her last This is everyone's last flyer. They're currently on their outlaps. Who is going to be on pole? I think currently it's a battle between the Aston Martins. Aston Martin Jake has a current 1/10 gap up to Maxpert. Maxpert currently has about a 3/10 gap to Formula Kyle, who has a 3/10 gap to the Kick Sauber, who has a 4/10 gap to Brian, who has a 2/10 gap to Ark. Starnik is then another 2/10 down, who's then 3/10 down up against Xenophi. Trip, only 3/10, and then Leah Plays in P10 with a 123.2, sorry. Ark is still in the pits. I wonder why. Is he not going to go back out? It takes about a minute and 10-20 seconds to go around. So he might be the literal last car. Maxpert gets a grid penalty for a collision with the McLaren of Xenophi. What happened? Xenophi is pushing. Maxpert is on an outlap. So I'm assuming coming into turn 1, Maxpert either didn't give way, Xenophi turned into turn 1, and Maxpert hit him? He does have damage. So Maxpert has damage. It's on his right side though, which doesn't make sense. That's the weird part. If it's from the pit lane, it should be on his left side. So I have no clue what happened. Don't want to put blame on just yet. The game says it's Maxpert's fault, but I don't know if it's true. I was not watching. Sadly, we cannot rectify grid penalties anymore. They had to stick. So Maxpert is not starting P2. He has no front wing, so he can't fix it. So he's going to be starting P7 at the minimum. TTV goes into the pits. He does not finish his lap. I think he was out, I'm pretty sure, unless I'm like tripping. Brian and Ark are both out. Both of them have invalid laps, but it's on their out lap. But no, Brian's on his actual push lap, I'm pretty sure. Brian invalidates his push lap. He is not going to improve from P5. Ark is pushing. He's going to come across the line now to start his hot lap. Slight correction. Coming across the line, kind of weird. Moving on, Leah Plays. Leah Plays does finish her lap. She actually improves by an entire second. So very good gains by Leah Plays. It does not bring her up a position. However, it is an improvement. A whole second improvement, actually. Maxpert retires from the session. He knows that he cannot improve with a busted wing. I wonder what happened. TTV needs an invite back. I will invite him now. My controller literally just turned off the millisecond I did something. That's kind of funny. Let me invite you, TTV, really quickly. There you are. TTV does not complete his lap. Jake is trying his best to set a lap. Trip does not improve. TTV does not improve. Jake has a yellow first sector. Xenophi in the McLaren doesn't improve. Starnik moves up to P6. Ark retires from the session. No improvement. Brian keeps P5. Formula Kyle trying his best to take P2 from Maxpert. He already has it though, because Maxpert has a penalty. He is up on Jake though. Formula Kyle is in contention for pole position if he can rotate his car properly in the final corner. Green sector 2 by 1/10 up. Coming across the Parabolica now isn't enough. He has a slight correction coming across the corner. He's going wide. Is he going to be able to maintain it? Is he going to get pole position? He comes across the line. P3, 2/10 down. He lost time. Leah places the last car on track, but she's not going to improve. She already did her hot lap. Comes into the pit lane. What happened? People are reporting issues in qualifying. I remember you could make reports. I don't know why Leah Plays is technically considered not finished. She's in the pit lane. Oh wait, no, he's waiting until she gets into my fault. Now she's finished. Okay, cool. Formula Kyle did not improve enough to get P2. However, the grid penalty will make him P2. He was in contention for pole before the final corner. The final corner ruined his time, not pushing him down, but he did not improve. He maintains P3 on the qualifying. He's going to move up to P2 after the grid penalty. I believe Arc moves up to 6, I think. I believe Maxberg goes down 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yep, so to my knowledge, Arc and everyone above Arc moves up 1 position. Maxberg moves down to P7. Is it his fault? I do not know. That's the troubling thing. We have no clue what occurred. It did say a penalty for hitting Jake. However, the game does not know what a proper penalty is. It just considers any damage for the person on the outlap as a person at fault. Was it Starnick? I was pretty sure it was Jake. My fault. Not Jake. What's it called? The McLaren Signify. Anyways, so our race will begin now. Not now. We have 5-minute break to allow the drivers to make proper setup changes, tire changes, and strategy decisions. So what do I think is going to happen? So we can currently see the qualifying order. Maxper is down in P7, like I said. He had pace for pole. So Maxper is down in 7th position, even though he should have been maybe at least second, at the bare minimum. He should have been second. So we're going to see a race of him trying to recover his losses. It's going to cause a lot of overtaking, which might cause contact. The race started apparently. It should have been a 5-minute break, but whatever. We have the formation lap now. Someone did not listen to the rules. We can now check the tires though, at least, I guess. This happens every time, I guess. No one just pays attention. Tires. So currently we have a mixture of hards and mediums with one driver, the Haas, on softs. So Jake and Kyle both run mediums. They're going to want to try to extend their lead while also being, they want to guarantee they're not overtaken in the final sectors, the first corner. TTV goes for hards. He's going to try to maintain distance and go long. 2 cars disqualified automatically. Brian and Starnick, they're going to be sent back to the start-finish line. They're not going to be able to warm up their tires. Who's at fault? I do not know. Arc in P6, also on mediums. He's going to be able to actually warm his tires up, unlike his teammate. He's on the mediums as well. Maxper on hards. He's going to go long. Xenofight and McLaren's also going to go long. Trip, though, he running the Japanese livery is on softs. He's going to try to go for an overtake immediately, and he's going to try to maintain it. Is it going to be the idea, though? The strategy. Trips is probably going to go soft, medium, mediums. That's probably his ideal strategy. There's no way he can take hards long enough to be able to take softs at any point. So softs, medium, mediums might work out for him. It depends on tire where he goes off the track, but it's okay. And Leah Plays is on mediums. She's going to try to follow Trip Yachts. Knowing this game, Starnick is apologizing to Brian, so he's taking responsibility for the disqualification. We take 5 minutes so that way people can change tire strategies and setup changes. It's a minor break. So 2 cars are on the grid already. They're going to be ghosted, so you can drive by them. Hopefully they have no damage. So, can Jake maintain his lead into turn 1, or can Kyle dive down the inside and take P1 from Jake? We're going to have 5 red lights soon. Both of them are on mediums. They both can do it. And we're off. A bad start by Kyle allows Jake to immediately run away with P1. Kyle's actually dropping positions from the bad stop. TTV's might overtake him into turn 1. TTV runs wide, has to brake or he gets a penalty. Doesn't get the penalty, thankfully. A car gets spun into turn 2. It's Maxpert. Maxpert gets spun. A bad qualifying becomes a bad race start. From P7 to P10, he is spun. Jake, with the great start, maintains his lead. Kyle sticks to P2. Brian up to P3. TTV, who had a better start than all of them, down to P4. Starnick P5. Arc P6. Trip moves up from P9 to P7. The McLaren, I believe, has no movement. And Leo plays is up 1 position because Maxpert is down 3. He is spun into turn 2. What happened on the race start? The camera changed the second it occurred. It looks like Maxpert on the inside of turn 1, now on the outside, gets spun around. He's able to overtake Leah Plays now on the back straight, allowing him to go up to P9. Leah Plays tries to maintain her position, back down to P10 sadly. Jake takes fastest lap as he leads the lap 1 of the race. Kyle locks up and sends it down the inside, giving Jake a penalty. I don't think Kyle had side by side at that moment. Jake immediately texts us. Kind of crazy though. Okay. So, Jake has an invalid lap and a 10-second penalty. He is touched turning into the corner. Doesn't have front wing damage, but he does run wide. This allows Brian to move up to P2. So, the issue with that overtake, it depends on who was alongside. Because Kyle tried to go up the inside, the rules for that means that Kyle's front wing, Kyle's mirror has to be, I can't talk, geez. Kyle's front wheel has to be alongside Jake's mirror to have right to space. Jake currently has a 10-second penalty now. However, it is possible he can appeal it. However, he has to pit anyway, so he might not get the opportunity to appeal it. Starnick with fastest lap. So yeah, we can't remove the penalty if it's before the pit stop because you have to pit anyways. It's automatic. You can't not take the 10-second penalty. Very annoying for Jake. Again, maybe it was Jake's fault though. I can't tell. But I'm saying if it wasn't Jake's fault, he sadly has to serve it. Brian though, up to P2. He is happy the incident allowed him to overtake Kyle. However, Kyle then immediately overtook him. And now it looks like TTV's going to overtake him now. TTV does actually overtake him. Brian loses 2 positions in 1 sector down to P4. Starnick P5. Arc is still in P6. No front wing damage, thankfully. He's going to try to catch up to Starnick. The McLaren is up to P7. Maxpert recovers to P8. He's still trying his best to move up the grid. Slight understeer into the first, slight oversteer into Ascari. Brian moves up to P3. Around the outside, however, TTV maintains his position back up to P3. Currently, there is 0 changes in position besides P7 and P8 switching positions. Trip Yachts, who runs softs at the beginning, is into the pits. The softs were not the strat. He's only on lap 4 and he has to pit already as the tire deg might be too high. We can go check on him now. He's putting on medium tires, I believe. No, hard tires. He put on the hards. Apparently he had used softs. That is not the strat. That is insane. Insane to use used softs. I don't think he did it on purpose though. So, let's reiterate. Jake is currently P1. He led P1 from turn 1. He had a great start compared to Kyle. He now has a 10-second penalty for an incident into turn 1 between him and Formula Kyle. The what's it called? The person at fault is unknown at the current moment, as we do not have a good video of it. However, he has a penalty. TTV, P3, and Brian P4 have been fighting. Starnick, still P5. I believe he did have action earlier, but he's currently at P5 still, along with Ark. Maxpert returns the P7. He qualified P2, penalized the P7, dropped to P10, back to P7. So Maxpert is going to try his best. He goes up the inside of Ark, moving up to P6. So Maxpert is trying his best to recover back to the podium, maybe to the win. His teammate has a penalty now, so this might work out for him. Ark is trying his best to keep up with the possible race leader at some point, as it will give him a good slipstream down the secondary straight. Ark has a great exit from the corner, however, is unable to overtake as Mac puts his car in the middle. Let's go back up to Jake. Formula Kyle, I keep calling it Kyle, has DRS. Is not going to be able to overtake into Ascari. Can Kyle overtake on the back straight? TTV gets a penalty. He's the second penalty, 3 seconds. Looking at the race map, we currently have a train to P5, and then a secondary train all the way down to P8, with the last 2 cars, P9 and P10, left behind by 17 seconds. Kyle has a run on Jake. He is only a 10th away. Is he going to dive bomb corner number 3? Is he going to do it? He does not. Jake maintains his lead. I had no camera view. That's the worst possible view they could have showed me. Kyle sticks to P2, unable to move up to P1. Yellow sector, yellow flags. There's a car. Leah Plates has spun into turn 1. She is recovered though, no damage. No safety car. She's back on track. Moving back up to Jake and Kyle. Into Ascari. Kyle is unable to dive bomb on the back straight. Brian gets his first penalty, 3 seconds. This is going to be, like every race, a battle of penalties. Whoever gets the least penalties can move up 1 or 2 positions depending on what happens. Safety car, no safety car. Currently, there's 3 drivers penalties. 3. Kyle is close on the main straight. He has DRS. He's on the back of him. He's going to go up the inside. They touch tires. Jake should have the position. Down the inside, around the outside. They keep banging wheels. I think Jake's going to maintain his lead. Kyle's on the inside, though. They're going side by side throughout the entirety of Sector 2. They keep banging wheels. Who's on the inside is going to be Jake. They contact each other. They both hit. They continue driving. No damage from what I can see. Yeah, neither cars are reporting damage. Both cars are fine. This has allowed TTV to catch up along with Brian. Into Ascari, Kyle and Jake go. TTV follows behind along with Brian. Jake had a better exit. He's right on the back of Kyle. Is the slipstream gonna be enough to overtake? He's gonna be on the outside. Kyle cuts him off. Around the Parabolica they go. On the main straight now, Jake is 5/10 down on Kyle. Is it gonna be enough to go up the inside? At the current moment, it does not look like it. He looks, but he decides to back out of it. It's not worth it. However, Kyle locks up a little bit, compromises exit, understeers out the exit. Jake's only 2/10 behind. There's no DRS. It's going to be only slipstream. Is the exit enough? 1/10 now. 1.5. It is closing. He's not alongside, though. He has to back out of it. Goes behind. Goes around the corner. He is close. TTV is trying his best to catch up. They keep fighting. He is catching up. He's only a second down now. Onto the secondary DRS zone. Jake is only 3/10 down. He's on the outside. Jake takes the lead by a margin before the corner. Jake is now the leader into Ascari. Kyle falls behind. TTV catches up. He's only 8/10 down onto the back straight. Starnick is not catching up. He's currently P4. Starnick is leading his own train of Brian and Maxpert. Ark is currently P8. Insane tire wear on the second V-carb, 63%. It is not good for Ark's car right now. He's running the mediums, and it's only lap 10. Actually, that might be normal, actually. I think I'm exaggerating. Into the pits he goes. So Ark will be the first car on the mediums to pit. I completely just lied to you. Jake and Brian have also pit. Jake has to serve his penalty, meaning Ark and Brian are both going to jump him. Oh, but the V-carbs 2 stack. A disaster. The V-carbs double stack. Ark loses more time now because of the double stack. Would he have overtaken Jake? I don't know. Let's see how far they are. It looks like he would have. Ark is currently with Jake, but he would have overtaken them if he had not had a double stack. Insane. Let's move back up to order. Kyle in P1. 6/10 down is TTV. They are both pushing hard. Both these drivers are running the hard tires. I am incorrect. Kyle's running mediums. So Kyle's on mediums. Everyone else has either pit onto hards or started on hards. Besides currently Leah Plays. Leah Plays is still on the mediums that she started with. Kyle, TTV comes into the pits. Maxpert moves back up to P3. He has not pit yet, but he is currently P3. The top 4 have yet to pit, technically meaning TTV is the new race leader. Yeah, TTV is currently race leader at the current moment. Wait, I can't talk. After the pit stop, TTV will lead, followed by Brian and Jake. Let's see if the undercut was worth it. TTV pit onto mediums. I believe he was on hards before. We can actually check tire wear. TTV was on hards. So TTV pit off the hards already. Is he gonna run hards, medium hards? Which might be the strat. Leah Plays comes into the pit lane. No action at the current moment as the pit stops have separated all the cars who were fighting. We're going to have to wait another lap or two to get them back together after they pit. TTV is currently gaining. He has a penalty. As I said that, he has a penalty of 3 seconds. I think that's his second. That is his second. And Ark gets a penalty as well. 6 seconds for TTV, 3 seconds for Ark, 3 seconds for Brian. So both V-Carbs have 3-second penalties. TTV has 6. Maxpert comes into the pits to take off his hards. Back to the tires, though. Does he have a penalty? Maxpert gets a bad pit stop. I don't think he had a penalty. He just got a bad pit stop. I didn't know that was possible in an online game. Unless he exited late. Clicked the button late. Maxpert back down to P8. TTV is still gaining on the leaders. He's already undercut them by a far margin. He should be 10 seconds in the lead after they pit from them. Brian currently P5, also has a penalty. Jake P6, no penalty. He's should be within Brian, but TTV is far up that the penalty is irrelevant currently. Maxpert P8, he had a bad pit stop. Trip and Leah plays P9 and P10 respectively. No safety cars, minor contact between the two leaders earlier. Starnick comes into the pits. He is taking off the hards. No one has taken hards longer than 11 laps. Kyle is about to take his mediums 12 laps. Kyle is going to one stop. Facts. He has to maintain his mediums because he has to do at least 14 laps. Maybe, sorry, he has to do at least 13 laps. Maybe 12. But he has to stay out a little longer. The longer he stays out on the mediums, the better the hards are going to feel. TTV moves up to P2. I was wrong about earlier though. He's 20 seconds down. He's going to overtake Kyle in the pit stop, but it's not going to be by a big margin. Is Kyle's one stop gonna work? I think it might work. I think the time you lose fighting and in the train has allowed Kyle to get the opportunity to one stop. He's 20 seconds up. He's going to pit for hards. He's going to come out P2. He's pitting now. Kyle's going to come out P2 with hards. And then he has to just run the entire race from there. And currently the undercut does not seem that strong. It does look strong, but it doesn't look strong enough to beat a one stop, 20 seconds that you get. TTV is going to overtake him on the main straight now. But it also looks like he's going to get overtaken by the next 3 cars. 1 car at the very least. He gets overtaken by Brian. The Aston Martin of Jake might get him. He does not. Brian does pass him though. He has cold tires. Can Jake and Stornick do anything about it? In the back you see Ark and the McLaren following. Kyle's on cold tires. Can Jake do anything about it? He cannot at the current moment. Kyle goes down to P3, not P2 like I expected. However, this is it. He does not have to pit. However, staying in 30 air is not helping him. It increases your tire wear. So currently, Brian's actually ruining his chances every second he's ahead. And if Jake starts to try to attack, it might actually increase the tire delta. So Brian and Jake have the opportunity to actually ruin the one stop by fighting him. However, that might seal TTV's win. It is a decision they have to make. Do you focus on your own race and you help the enemy by not doing anything? Or do you actually hurt your opponent, but then you might help someone else? That's the question. Brian loses the position as Kyle goes up the inside with DRS. He moves up to P2. Jake cannot compete at the current moment. Sticks to P4. Kyle's new hards allows him to get back into clean air, but he now... Sorry, someone else. Jake gets a penalty for 3 seconds. Kyle is currently the highest car with 0 penalties. He is lapping faster than Jake's fastest lap right now. Starnick overtakes Jake. Jake is struggling with something. Jake is moving down the order. However, Starnik is on fresher medium, so it is to be expected, actually. Jake is on order mediums. He has to play the long game a little bit longer to overtake again. So is Ark. Ark is also on 5 lap mode hards. He is down by 7 seconds as he had to wait in a double stack, which caused him to lose time. The McLaren, a second and a half down on fresh mediums. Maxpert, again, qualified P2, 10 seconds down, had a bad pit stop somehow. Kyle takes fastest lap. I don't think any driver has wing damage. Nope. Okay. So Kyle is catching up to the lead. He's already 2/10 down onto the secondary, the curve straight. Down the turn 3. Going to turn 4 now. He is on the sausage curbs, no damage though. He is close to TTV. He's on the fresh hards. If he gets in the clean air, it might be over. He's on the back straight now with the DRS. Is he going to be close enough to go into a Ascari side by side? I don't think so. TTV will maintain his lead into Ascari. Kyle is close though. He's going to be waiting until the main straight. Brian gets another penalty. Up to 9, I'm pretty sure. Kyle has the slipstream. 3/10 down, 4/10 down. Has DRS, however, I think that might be enough distance. It is not. Kyle is already side by side, going into the main straight, takes the inside, moving back onto the racing line. Kyle is now in the lead on his fresh hards. That might be it. He has clean air. He has the lead. He might just drive off to the win. He is going to one stop. He already completed the pit. This might be it. TT tries to fall behind. He's on 6 lap old mediums. Can we contest? Is it possible to take him off the top step of the podium? Maxpert gets a 10-second penalty for corner cutting. An insane penalty. And he retires from the session. This moves Leah Plays up to P9. The second Aston Martin, making it an Aston Martin 1-2, retires in P9. The Aston Martin on pole position is currently P5, trying to overtake an Alpine in P4. Down the inside in the Parabolica, an absolute great overtake by Jake the moment I looked at him. Jake's gonna have DRS, and he's already ahead. They both have DRS. They have DRS on Brian. The Alpine goes on the inside. They go side by side. However, Jake might take the lead. No, it's back to Starnik. Starnik edges it out slightly to stay ahead. P4. They're close to Brian, though. Jake retakes the lead. I keep saying the lead. Jake retakes P4. 7/10 off Brian. 8/10 off Brian. They were close earlier. Now they're not. Brian is trying his best to drive off. He can't afford to fight them. It does not look like Brian has the pace to fight. Starnik goes wide, loses the rear only slightly. He's able to recover, but he loses half a second to Jake. TTV is unable to keep up with Kyle. Kyle takes the lead by 4 seconds in 2 laps. TTV, 2 seconds behind him is Brian. In less than a second, Brian has 2 cars following him. Into the pits comes Jake. Jake is doing a second pit stop. He's taking off the hards already. He does not like them. Nope, he's putting on fresh hards. He did 2-stop, and he's putting on fresh hards for the final 10 laps. This brings Ark up to P5. Starnik now has to no longer fight. He's now P4. He has the opportunity to fight Brian now. However, he has lost a second. Brian has moved up a whole second because of the fighting. Can Starnik catch up to Brian? That is the question. Ark has gapped the McLaren by, I think, 1 second. However, he has maintained static between him and the Alpine ahead. Kyle has gained another 3 seconds to TTV. He is pushing on the hards despite going long on them. So it might lead to a puncture, but we do not know. It might be enough, as the hards rarely do puncture. It takes a lot to push on that hard. Brian is catching up to TTV. TTV comes into the pits. Brian takes second place. Starnik is now on the podium for the first time this race, I'm pretty sure, up to P3. TTV goes to his pit box, allowing Ark to pass him as well. The McLaren passes him. It's a good pit stop, unlike Maxpert. He's going to come out ahead of Jake, I'm pretty sure. No, it might be close. It might be side by side. Nope, Jake overtakes the Kicksauber for P6. If this means anything for later, Jake might be P2 if everyone else pits. It does depend. Can the people ahead of him 0-stop and finish the race on their current tires, or are they going to be forced to pit? It's going to be a tall ask for the drivers. The Alpine, it already has high tire wear. Brian has high tire wear. Brian actually has front wing damage. He's missing something, apparently, but it says he has front wing damage. I don't see it on his car, so it might be minor, but it might affect his car. Is it possible to go to the end from here? 7 laps remaining. There's a yellow sector. It has been sorted between Jake and TTV. 2 cars go into the pit lane of Starnik and Brian. Ark moves up to P2, his highest position of the race so far. The McLaren follows him behind to P3. Another yellow sector. For what? I don't know. I think Leah Plays is being lapped, actually. Yes, Leah Plays was moving out the way for being lapped. Ark moves up to P2. 20 seconds down on Kyle. Kyle's had an absolutely amazing race. Qualified P3, moved up to P2. He's currently P1. He does have a ticket against him, I'm pretty sure, for later. So he has to at least get a good gap in case of a penalty later. If he is served a penalty. It is up to, no. Sinophi, who joined late in qualifying, is up to P3. Again, they still have to pit, so it's not confirmed. However, it is still a good showing from the McLaren. Lap 22 will be soon. Sorry, lap 21. And into the pits goes Ark. I was wondering if he was going to stay out the entire race. He does not. He comes into the pit lane now. He's going to be putting on a fresh set of medium tires. This has dropped him down to P6. However, the McLaren behind also pits with him onto fresh mediums as well. The order regained. Jake moves up to P2. He's on 3-lap old hard, so he's done. The order is currently Kyle, who is going to go to the end. Jake, who's already pitted, and then Brian, who pitted a lap ago. However, Kyle has a 30-second gap to P2. My controller turned off, sorry. Brian is a second down on Jake. Kyle has won this race convincingly. The one stop has worked out for him. Is the opportunity of a puncture going to happen? According to Kiz, someone said... I can't read that, I'm not gonna lie to you, I'm sorry. It will be looked into later, though. Kyle currently has good tire wear, so he might be able to go to the end without the idea of a puncture occurring. Jake is trying his best to maintain P2. He's currently doing a good job. Brian's a second and a half down. I don't think he has any threat at the current moment. Starnick is racing for P4. TTV, who's had a good race so far, is currently P4. Starnick wants that P4. Great run by Starnick. Is it enough to go down the inside? They tap wheels. Starnick is right on his back. Down the inside. TTV is going to maintain his gap ahead into turn 1, into turn 2. They are fighting hard. Starnick wants the position. He goes down the inside, backs out of it, around the corner. They're going to go onto the secondary straight now with DRS. Starnick is a tenth behind. TTV is trying to defend. Into the wall is what I thought just happened, but TTV recovers. Starnick is going down the inside of Ascari. Starnick is spun on track. He is spun in Ascari. His car recovers. He's going back to catch up to TTV. Ark is going to lap Leah after he pitted, as she unlapped herself during the pit stop. Starnick loses 3 seconds because of the spin. Whose fault it is, I don't know. Side by side into Ascari is a difficult thing. A ticket will be made, though. That's for sure. Xenophi gets his first penalty, 3 seconds. This relieves some pressure off Ark, as now he knows it's about track position, not about the penalties. Busy steward rooms are coming. Hi, Marcy. Marcy's here. Currently, the only drivers without a penalty is Kyle, Starnick, Trip, and Leah Plays, who I believe only has 2 penalties that she's ever gotten in the league so far. Leah usually drives cleanly. Art gets another penalty, 6 seconds. Starnick is trying his best to catch up. He's already up a second, but TTV gets another penalty. I didn't even consider that. 9 seconds for TTV. You can watch that instead, actually. Just this for now. 3 laps remain. I think 4 laps, actually. 4 laps remain of the Monza race. And I can say confidently, as long as a safety car doesn't happen, I think it might be too late, Kyle has won definitively. He just has to bring it home now. A 30-second gap to P2. Jake has been able to gap Brian by 2 seconds. And he has the penalty difference, so Jake should be P2. Brian has 6 seconds, but TTV has 9. And there's a gap. Yellow sector 1 is just Leah Plays again, getting lapped. It's okay. No damage. What was I saying? Brian P3 should stay on the podium. So the podium should be this. TTV is going to move down positions because of his penalties. Starnick is going to be P4 on the points, but on track, is he going to go for it? Down the secondary straight again. He has DRS down the inside. He is not alongside, though. He does not get room. He has to back out of it a little bit. He doesn't lose time. He's only 5/10 down now. He's on the back straight to Parabolica. Ark is behind, trying his best to catch up. He has penalties, but he's trying to catch up to TTV. If he's within TTV, he gets a position. The McLaren behind trying his best also as well. He has to get within Arc to get his position. So there's a double penalty fight, who can have less penalties. Trip is behind P8. The Alpine goes down the inside. They both go really slow into turn 1, into turn 2. They touch wheels, and into the wall goes the McLaren, the Kick Sauber, and the Alpine. Arc takes P4. Both Brian and Arc have the same penalty. The Kick Sauber has been spun. He turns the car around and goes back on track. The Alpine's able to continue as the car goes. He has 0 penalties, but he has now front wing damage. That is for sure going to be a penalty for someone. But who? I do not know. Starnik now needs to catch back up to Arc. Currently, Starnik is 6 seconds down. Arc has a 6-second penalty. However, the McLaren is going to save Arc by fighting Starnik. Starnik is still going to be P5 because the McLaren has a penalty. However, the McLaren is hurting Starnik's chances of being P4. That was an incident in turn 1 between the McLaren, the Kick Sauber, and the Alpine. Whose fault it was? They went side by side into turn 1 fairly. They actually looked like they were going slow to ensure that they both went through safely. Both cars went really slow into turn 1, safely, of course. Then turn 2, it looked like they were fine, but the issue came from the exit. It looks like one car was trying to get back onto the racing line. I don't know for certain. It did not look like an idiotic move, I'll say that much. It kind of just looked like one car was trying to recover, and it looked like an incident. It's still, I think it's still a penalty, but it looks like an incident, that makes sense. Like, not like a terrorist. I believe TTV has left the session. He did retire, sadly. He's not going to be getting points. He could have got points if he finished the race. P9 gets points. This is a move up. Leah plays 2 P8, another position. Starnik is currently P6. He's currently P5 after the penalty is applied. However, Arc is getting the gap he needs. Only a little bit, though. Right now, Starnik is 6.5 seconds down. Arc has a 6-second penalty. Another yellow flag. Leah plays a penalty for Leah plays. And it might have been just to allow someone to lap. I don't think she did it on purpose. I think she did it on purpose to allow someone to lap. But off goes Starnik. Starnik goes wide into turn 1, has to take the exit road, doesn't get a penalty, but this has sealed it. Arc is P4. The McLaren's too far behind to take Arc's penalty. Arc has 6 seconds. But the race winner is Formula Kyle. I didn't even notice. He was so far ahead. Kyle from P3 wins the Monza Grand Prix for Golden Racing League with an incredible gap of 30 seconds. Jake, who started on pole position, is going to come home P2. The sole Aston Martin to win to complete the race. A good race from Jake. Good recovery. He's going to come home 2nd place. Brian, an absolute insane drive, picked up the pieces, is on the podium for VCarb, comes home P3. Arc, who was fighting for P7 the entire time, was able to properly execute a double overtake into turn 1, gets P4. The McLaren, who held back Starnik just for the fun of it, is going to come home P5, but then move down to P6. Starnik had a good drive, good pace. Incident occurred. Was it his fault? I do not know. But he does get the P5 finish at the end. Trip Yachts did a gamble. He wanted to go for softs. Didn't work out. He's still up 2 positions, though. Is going to finish P7 with Leah Plays with a penalty for the first time this season, I'm pretty sure. However, I don't think she did it on purpose. Comes home P8 for Williams. currently, I think there's two major tickets going to be reported. It's going to be Starnick versus TTV, and it's going to be Jake versus Kyle. Those are the two incidents I think is going to be reported. That might affect the race. However, I think Kyle is okay. Kyle is so far ahead, he can just take a penalty. Kyle can take 3 penalties, I think, and still win by a tenth. Kyle is admitting fault, though. So he'll get the penalty points, though, which is, it will be an effect. I don't know what the effect is for penalty points. But good job for Kyle. He had a good race. He admits fault, but he is the race winner with fastest lap. The McLaren is driver of the day after the defense against Starnick, and Brian gets the most overtakes of the race. This is the order. 2 cars DNF'd. It will be TTV and Maxpert. TTV technically classified. According to the Golden Racing League points, though, they don't get points for classifying. However, he can at least know that technically he technically finished the race, just 3 laps down. Maxpert is the only DNF technically. The winner is Kyle, Jake, Brian's the podium. Ark brings home V-Carb G4. And then Starnick comes on P5. He's the only person to finish where he qualified. Very funny. That is all for the race. Pretty good race. Not bad. Yeah. Everyone have a good day and see you next week.